Michelle on GMA. Her take on Fanny Bryce to be immortalized now in vinyl.
We are all so proud to announce that we are going to be releasing our original cast.
Well, she made that big announcement following Wednesday's performance of Funny Girl. The album drops today. Wins News Time 7:39.
Amazon Business honors Jill Lau, Chief Procurement Officer of Global Network Bank. Last week, Jill saved big and used Amazon Business to help her team buy 327 headsets. Now Bob can keep his conversations to himself.
Wait, am I still on speakerphone?
With business buying easier than before, Jill now uses her extra time to focus on growing something big. Buy smarter, dream bigger. Visit Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying.
Thank you for holding.
Hang it up, Bob.
No one knows where this market will go. Right now, it feels like a wild ride. But one thing's for certain, there's a way through it. And the experience and guidance of a Merrill advisor can help you get there. Because where there's a bull, there's a way. Find an advisor in New York City at ml.com/bullish.
Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do?
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Bank of America Corp.
The relentless pursuit of the stories that matter to you. 1010 wins at 92.3 FM.
The Newswatch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good morning, 35 degrees. It is 7:40 on this Friday, November 18th. I'm Susan Richard, and here's what's happening. The LGBTQ community is on alert following a series of druggings and robberies targeting gay men in Hell's Kitchen. 2 were fatal. Our Glenn Schuck coming up. Mayor Adams to sign off today on the legislation he says will help get rid of the rats. A judge bans a man from riding the LIRR for 2 years in the first case of a new sex assault law being invoked. Snow's already falling in Buffalo, where they could get 4 feet. And police arrest an axe-wielding man who showed up at the New York Times building. In sports, Aaron Judge named American League MVP. Devils won their 11th straight. Nets also won. Islanders and Rangers lost. 1010 wins AccuWeather, a partly sunny, windy day. The high 43, real feels in the 30s. Wins News Time 7:41. Traffic and transit. Here's Karen Stewart.
Getting a little tired talking about this Grand Central accident. It's been there for a while, 6:11 if you want to be specific about it. Both directions of the Grand Central affected into the Clearview Expressway. Of course, it's causing delays eastbound mainly into the Clearview Expressway. And then we've got these eastbound delays that will continue out to around Springfield Boulevard. Westbound, we're slow through the area, granted, but we're not like the eastbound side. Now, we do have eastbound LIE delays where we're jammed from Main Street pretty much out into the Clearview there, and we've got westbound delays that start at 164th and go out to Woodhaven Boulevard, and then you're jammed from Maurice Avenue and Maspeth out into the BQE, but then you're good to the Queens Midtown Tunnel. It's a little bit of a lighter than normal morning rush hour today, I will give it that. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. 35 inbound George, 25 Lincoln, and 2530 at the inbound Hallam. That's how you can tell it's a lighter than normal morning rush hour. And in New Jersey, we've got an overturned box truck on 46 at 3. This is eastbound 46 at 3. That's why you're sitting in all that traffic, and a vehicle fire in Clifton on Route 19 northbound at North Broad Street. Traffic and transit. Our next report is 7:51. I'm Karen Stewart, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Police and the LGBTQ community trying to get to the bottom of what is going on in Hell's Kitchen. That's where several men have been victimized, including 2 who died.
In the deaths of these 2 gay men, both had been drugged and robbed. 25-year-old Julio Ramirez and 33-year-old John Umberger. They both left gay bars here in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood earlier this year, but police aren't saying their deaths are directly related, but certainly troubling for the LGBTQ community. And this message from Councilmember Eric Botcher.
We want people to go out. We want people to have a great time, but we want people to have the tips that they need to be safe.
Even more frightening, Botcher says it appears there are many other incidents of gay men being drugged and robbed in LGBTQ bars and clubs in the last couple of years.
I said, everyone watching, please contact authorities. Share all the details you can with authorities.
The NYPD has formed a special task force to investigate. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins, on 92.3 FM. the 49th and 9th.
Today's the day Mayor Adams puts his signature on his new rat action plan. The 4 pieces of legislation include setting up new rat mitigation zones, with the health department putting out an annual public report on how things are going in those areas. The other bills change when most buildings will put trash bags on the street till later in the evening, and developers will need to show that they have hired an exterminator in order to secure building permits. Public Advocate Jumani Williams will be at the Chamber Street station later today. He says we need something other than 911 when it comes to mental health. He's talking about crime in the subways committed by the mentally ill. Ahead of that 11 a.m. event, he spoke to 1010 Wins.
To put it bluntly, we really need to double down on a non-police response to mental health crises and incidents where people need some assistance. And so we have to build that out. We need to create a non-police number.
Separately, he also says more attention should be paid in schools where mental health screenings, he thinks, should be standard, like getting a physical or going to the dentist. Michael Harewood is now banned from the Long Island Railroad for 2 years. That was part of a plea deal for Harewood sexually assaulting a train conductor back in August. The victim was also granted a personal order of protection against him. The ruling marks the first ever transit ban following a new state law that passed in 2020. Well, if you were looking to shuffle off to Buffalo, as the old Broadway song goes, make other plans. They are getting buried in snow.
More than 3 inches fell in just 1 hour overnight at the Buffalo airport, where air traffic has ground to a halt. Thousands are without power as the heavy snow further complicates the already treacherous road conditions. Wrecked vehicles lined highways north of Syracuse in Parrish, New York. The governor closing more than 130 miles of the thruway from Rochester to the Pennsylvania border.
Andrew Dimbert reporting. In fact, there's a ban on driving at all in Erie County except for emergency vehicles. The Amtrak stations in Buffalo, Niagara Falls, and Depew will remain closed today. And Sunday's Cleveland-Buffalo football game has been moved to Ford Field in Detroit. Well, the snow not affecting us. 35 degrees now. It's mostly clear. The humidity 64%. Winds are southwest at 10, gusting to 20 miles an hour. So it is windy. In fact, because of that, the real field temperature is only 25 right now. We're heading up to a partly sunny 43 with real feels later today, not getting out of the 30s. Wins News Time 7:46. North Korea baiting the U.S. and our allies once again, this time while a major higher-up was overseas.
Vice President Kamala Harris in Bangkok to discuss economic issues with Asia-Pacific leaders. But those talks were interrupted when North Korea fired another intercontinental ballistic missile.
It destabilizes security in the region and unnecessarily raises tension.
The missile landed near Japanese waters. A statement from the U.S. government says North Korea's action is a brazen violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions.
Linda Kenyon reporting. With Democrats losing the House in the midterms, Nancy Pelosi is ready to pass the torch.
Never would I have thought that someday I would go from homemaker to House Speaker.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced she's stepping down from leadership when Republicans take control of the chamber next year.
With great confidence in our caucus, I will not seek re-election to Democratic leadership in the next Congress.
Pelosi, now 82, became the nation's first woman to hold the Speaker's gavel in 2007. She's led House Democrats for nearly 20 years.
For me, the hours come for a new generation to lead the Democratic caucus that I so deeply respect.
Correspondent Natalie Brand. House Republicans wasting no time announcing investigations into President Biden and his son Hunter. Ohio's Jim Jordan.
The only way you can hold people accountable and hopefully stop the behavior is to present it to the country. That's what we got to do. So we're committed to doing it in an aggressive fashion, but in a way that's consistent with the Constitution.
At the same time, Republicans say the Democratic-led January 6th committee, which has been investigating Donald Trump's alleged role in the Capitol Hill riot, will be no more. The United States now moving to shield the Saudi crown prince from being sued over his role in the murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
The Biden administration says the legal determination was made under long-standing principles of international law and has nothing to do with the merits of the case. It cites head of state immunity. President Biden was criticized for fist-bumping the crown prince on a visit to Saudi Arabia in July. But the White House said Mr. Biden told the prince he considered him responsible for Khashoggi's killing. He was killed and dismembered in October of 2018 by Saudi agents in Istanbul.
Cammie McCormick with that report. It was an operation U.S. intelligence believed was ordered by Mohammed bin Salman. The Crown Prince is being sued by both Khashoggi's fiancé and the group the journalist founded, Democracy for the Arab World Now. A Florida judge has awarded the family of Gabby Petito $3 million as part of their wrongful death lawsuit against the estate of Brian Laundrie. The Long Island family sued the estate of their daughter's fiancé, who murdered her while on a cross-country trip. He was later found dead by suicide in Florida. The lawyer for the Petitos acknowledges that they likely won't see any cash because Brian didn't have that kind of money. So far, no comment from the Laundrie family. The driver who plowed into dozens of sheriff's recruits in Los Angeles, now identified and charged.
22-year-old Nicholas Joseph Gutierrez is in custody on suspicion of attempted murder. Gutierrez was allegedly behind the wheel of an SUV when it slammed into a group of sheriff's recruits on a training run. There were around 75 cadets taking part in the run. 24 were injured, 5 of them critically. There is no indication what might have led to the incident. Sobriety tests on the driver came back negative.
At Steve Futterman, investigators have yet to say whether they have evidence that Gutierrez intentionally drove into the recruits. Scary scene at the New York Times. We'll tell you what happened, plus get traffic and weather next.
The Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is here. Get a bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, plus a small seasoned potatoes. That's a better breakfast for just $3 in 3 easy steps. 1, wake up. 2, get out of bed. And 3, head to Wendy's for your $3 breakfast deal. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours. Select or request $3 breakfast deal in order to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combos orders. Price and participation may vary in Alaska and Hawaii.
For all your printing needs this holiday, Staples has you covered.
I need custom printed holiday cards for my one-of-a-kind business.
Staples has you covered.
It's beginning to look a lot like I need custom party invites. Fast.
I need cards for everyone who gave me a hand this year, without spending an arm and a leg.
Staples has you covered with personalized holiday cards and invites. And now save 40% on custom holiday cards and invitations. For everything you need printed, go to Staples, the working and learning store. In-store and online, ends 12/17. Exclusions and restrictions apply.
Twins News Time 7:51. Traffic and transit on the ones. Here's Karen Stewart.
Let's take a check of what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. The inbound George upper level is 40. The inbound George lower level is 30. We've got no outbound GW bridge delays right now. The Lincoln is 25 and the Holland is 25 to 30. It is a much lighter than normal morning rush hour today, but we've got problems in Jersey. We got a vehicle fire on Route 19 northbound at North Broad Street in Clifton. And the right and the centers are blocked there. That's why you're sitting there like you are. Eastbound Route 46 at Route 3. We've got an overturned box truck. The right and centers are closed. And Route 46 eastbound goes back to the mall right now. Goes back to Willowbrook. So that's what we're dealing with there. Now, if you're heading over to the East River, the inbound RFK, Queens Midtown, and the Williamsburg are the heaviest of the East River crossings. Nothing really major happening at the Throgs Neck and the Whitestone bridges. We still have this Grand Central Parkway accident that affects traffic both ways. Near Springfield Boulevard, eastbound delays go back to 164. Then eastbound, we are bumper to bumper into that scene. Long Island Speak.